the dichotomy is kind of different when it comes to Jamaica, because like in North America, Canada, or USA, is you guys are kind of have to do with a black and white thing, and you don't know where your ancestry come from. And
I get where you're coming from on that.
Culture is based on like it's like culture. Here is like hip hop music and whatever, black culture, quote unquote. We have a country. Granted, it's run by some fucked up people, but we cultivated that thing ever since we came off the boat, and we mixed with the people who are there, the Arawaks, the Tainos. We cultivated a culture that came from an African ancestry, mixed with the Tainos, the Arawaks, and all that stuff, and we created this Jamaican culture out of many one people. I saw the motto go. Right? So when Jamaicans that you speak to out there that say, yo, I'm not African, they're not saying literally, yo, my ancestry is not African. They're saying the culture that I grew up on, cultivated on,
I get that.
It's so far distant removed because of the atrocities that the colonizers did. So that's why we just claim Jamaicans.
Let me give you a round of applause for that one. So that was a good one, man. That was a good one.
Greetings once again, my Jamaican people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And before I continue, I'll kindly request that you hit the like, subscribe, and the share button, as this will go a long way in supporting my channel. And in today's episode, I'll be covering the issue about colorism in Jamaica. As we all know, Jamaica is a very beautiful country that is composed of individuals from different ethnicity, nationalities, and ancestral backgrounds, with the majority of the Jamaicans population, that is about 90%, being of African origin. And in the recent times, you're seeing that most Jamaicans are coming out to claim that they are not Africans, that they are only Jamaicans. Well, watch the rest of this episode to see how Jamaicans are reacting to this, while I come with my own reactions at the end of this episode.
Yo, Jamaicans, I'm gonna need us to get up off of that. Now, I'm tired of seeing videos where it's people, well, Caribbean people, women, males, saying that Jamaicans got correlations to Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana. It's like, if we could curse on TikTok, I would tell y'all to shut the... Nah, for real, just be quiet. And if anybody that see this video that's triggered from the Caribbean, then so what? I'm going to need us to throw that whole idea away, right? Because now we in a time where all the truth is being let out, right? So Jamaicans thinking they from Ghana and thinking they from Nigeria, and Haitians thinking they from France and all of that. It's so ignorant. And at this time, I'm going to just need y'all to be quiet, because even African Americans thought they was from Africa. Turns out, y'all, we all from America. Nobody took us from Africa to put us in these lands. They came over here and we were already here. They came to Jamaica. There were already black people in Jamaica when they colonized Jamaica. They came to Haiti. It was already black people in Haiti before they colonized Haiti. They came to America and there was already black people here in America before they colonized America. And the Caribbeans, Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, all the Caribbeans, right? They are a part of American territory. So I need y'all all to realize that we all have been indoctrinated. A Jamaican saying they from Ghana is the same thing as an African American saying they from Africa. We all didn't come from Africa. I need y'all to understand that when they came to these lands with quote-unquote slaves, guys, they came empty-handed and they turned people that were here slaves already. Every time I see a video with a Caribbean person saying they got African ancestry, it just baffles me. And then y'all go super hard like y'all know what y'all talking about, off like y'all was there. First of all, Jamaicans, Aboriginal Americans, all of us, guys, we wear dreadlocks. Mayans, which were the original Americans, they wear dreadlocks. We look just like the Mayans. We still practice the same practices till this day. Jamaicans and Aboriginals, you're more of a Mayan and an Olmec than you are African, period. So every time you see one of them videos, shut that down, because knowledge is power and we all been indoctrinated. get that spell off for you.
Lennox Arthur, Rhino, he's Jamaican. And he's saying that those people in the Caribbean, they know for sure that they are Africans. So we're going to get into this today. So everyone that you know that's from the Caribbean, and they're still indoctrinated by the colonizers' false version of history, I need you to tell them to come in here, because we're going to get into this deeply today. And I promise you that without a doubt, you're going to walk away from here knowing that you are not an African. And Lennox, you got yourself a knuckle beating today. Get your fingers off of that keyboard and stop making those crazy comments in my comment section. I am spanking your knuckles right now. Let's get it. Before the colonizers came, 1492, we know who that fella's name was that sailed the ocean blue in 1492. They called him Christopher Columbus. He went into South America and the Caribbean. And from there, they began renaming people and the land masses that were there, robbing and looting, stealing everything they could possibly steal, and giving everyone in the Caribbean a Caucasoid god to worship, saying that that god was actually going to save them. It was the Catholic Church that issued a doctrine of discovery, which allowed the colonizers to claim indigenous people's land and resources because they were non-Christians. Did you hear that? Religion was involved in you losing your land, losing your homes, being renamed all these erroneous names that mean nothing, and you're worshiping a false god that does not belong to you, that your ancestors did not worship. And everything they did in the Caribbean and South America, they did the exact same thing in the North America as well, which is the United States and Canada and Mexico. Let's continue. What was the name of each one of those islands before the Caucasoids came and changed all the names? This is the colonizer names for the different islands. This is the actual original name of the islands, and this is your identity, your tribe, your tribal affiliation that you belong to. You can clearly see that none of these say African, right? It says Arawak, Taino, and Kalinago. What about Barbuda and the rest of these? This is their tribal affiliation. Which one says African? Moving right along, Dominica, St. Lucia, Martinique, all of them. Arawak and Kalinaga. I still don't see African. Barbados, Trinidad, and Tobago. Do you see African here? Neither do I. Hispaniola, also known as Haiti, and also DR, Dominican Republic. This is their nationality of origin, and this is what their islands were named. Do you see African on here? And you're Jamaican, and it says you're Taino. And I know that some of the Jamaicans are Arawak. But do you see African on here? I don't either. Moving right along. We have these islands here. Do you see African? I don't either. Here are more. Do you see African on here? I don't either. The Caicos Islands. Do you see African? Here we are again. More of the islands. Do you see African? Yet and still, there's more islands. Do you see African here? And here's another. I think I went through all of the Caribbean islands. I still haven't seen African yet. And why haven't I seen African yet? Because before the colonizers, the term African did not exist. You were your tribal identity. Furthermore, when you call yourself an African, you're basically saying, hey, look, I am their prisoner of war, because they have pretty much X'd out your actual identity, and they replaced it with African, color, black, Negro, all of these, Hispanic. These titles mean absolutely nothing to us. They mean everything to them because they've disenfranchised us. They've stolen our identity. Read it with me, Lennox, Mr. Rhino. These terms are applied to people who are prisoners of war. It's during wartime that they have assigned these titles to you. And these are prisoner of war titles. Do you get it? You are not an African. You're not a color. You're not a Negro. You're not a black. You're not a Hispanic. You are whatever tribal affiliation you have come from.
Gene, you see, trying to tell a Jamaican that the ancestors came from Africa is one of the hardest things, because these guys are genuinely convinced that they're actually Caribbean and there's no Africans blood in them or in their ancestry. Because I'm not gonna lie, I saw my Jamaican brethren that, you man are Ghanaians, on the sly. But you man just got moved out to different islands. Blood, as soon as I told them, they said, but the bomber clap, me not African. Me not African. The bomber clap, why is cartel? It's like, raw, like, the man don't listen, because if they do a DNA test, blood, I'm showing you, bro, most of these Jamaicans, they come from Ghana and that, bro. It's just that, you get me, due to slavery and that, them man got pushed out to different islands, and that's when Jamaican formed, of a group of Africans that formed Jamaica. But the thing is, though, they would never admit that they're African, bro. Deep down, Jamaicans are Africans, blood. But they're so fixated on saying, nah, we come from the Black Caribbean, Baltimore, Kingston. You don't, yes, you come from that country, but your ancestors, your great-great-great-great-grandfather and grandmother came from Africa, bro. Before you were in the islands, you were literally in the continent of Africa. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
You know Jamaicans came from Africa.
No, we did not.
But you did come from Africa.
We did not come from Africa. Just keep to the side.
CJ, I know you like Nigerians.
Keep me away from this dirty Africa, man. I'll be from there. Dirty things, them. Have you seen what the food looks like? How can I be from Africa? I don't eat that dirty food, fam. Ugh, Africans, bro.
Cannot tell the average Jamaican right now that they are African, even though 90% of the population is predominantly of African descent. You can tell the Indian that they're Indian, and they have a clear sense of what Indianness looks like. But you ask about the Africans, and then people look sideways at you and wonder if you're going mad, and have a retort ready for you to say, no, but you're Jamaican. But if you came from Africa as corn, are planted in Jamaica or Trinidad or Tobago, you don't become peas, you're still corn. Again, a disconnect between our past selves and our sense of history, and the loss of that sense to the reconstruction of ourselves in other people's image and likeness, and therefore that's the recipe for cognitive dissonance, a sort of madness in fact.
I see many Jamaicans talking about them are Africans when we are 500 years separated from Africa. The first African immigrant arrived in Jamaica in 1512. So for 513 years we have been here. Yet some cling to a continent that they were sold from. Our culture and identity was formed here. We must not be stuck in the far past, but embrace our present. We are Jamaicans and we are Caribbeans, but we are not Africans. Have a blessed independence, my peeps. D.L.
You know, say, if we really, may I try to say, Jamaican are no black people. Jamaican are no black people. We think Jamaican are just Jamaican by themselves. Jamaican no black. Them are no African. Them no mixed with nobody else. Jamaican are just Jamaican in a different class from everybody else. Jamaican no have no trace and nobody. Jamaican in a group by themselves. We can't look on the other race and say, you know, say Jamaican coming like them set of people. No, sir. Jamaican are just Jamaican. No African, no Caribbean island, no Haitian, just Jamaican. Yeah, man. You can't mix Jamaican with nothing else.
I just want to say sincerely, fuck everybody that thinks I'm African, all right? I am fucking Jamaican, all right? I have a lot of fucking African descendants in my motherfucking blood. So stop asking if I'm African. I'm not African. I'm Jamaican. I was born in St. Anne's, Limal, Jamaica. Pussy will go suck yourself. And that's all me have to say.
Jamaican is our nationality, but genetically, we are Africans. Interesting things about Africa. Well, an interesting thing about Nigeria, I'm want to tell you. You see, in Nigeria, 4 people could be standing next to each other. All 4 of them speak English, the same way all of we speak Patois and English. So all 4 speak English, all 4 speak Pidgin, but all 4 of them will speak different tribal language. This one will speak Igbo, this one will speak Yoruba, this one will speak Akwa Igbo, and this one will speak Shanti. Because there are hundreds of different tribes in Nigeria, and they all have their own tribal language. Not only that, Nigeria have multiple different states, and each tribe live in those specific traits, in those specific states. Another thing, people from different tribes, they don't tend to procreate with each other or marry each other. So it's very rare to find somebody who belongs to two tribes at the same time. So each tribe, due to that, each tribe tend to have their own individual look. So it's very usual in Nigeria for somebody to look at a person and tell which tribe them come from. But not all the time, because some of the tribe them related to each other. Like, for example, the Akwa Iboman tribe and the Igbo tribe look almost identical, and that's because they're related to each other. I don't remember which one come from which, but they used to be the same tribe, but they're not the same tribe anymore. Now, what's interesting about Caribbean people, Afro-Caribbean people like Jamaicans, like me and like you, hopefully if you watch this video, you're Jamaican, is that we don't come from one tribe like these people. Due to the transatlantic slavery, we will actually be considered biracial, I guess. Me talk biracial. Me not say you're half white and half black or half Chinese or nothing like that. I mean, like, in terms of the tribe where you belong to so many different tribes, because when they were stealing people and bringing them to the Americas, them never business which tribe you come from. So it just end up being from multiple different tribes. And knowing this information, due to the fact that I used to live at Texas, etc., when I go to Jamaica or whenever, like, when I go anywhere that has a lot of black people, people of color, I be looking at people and I be like, man, this a person I look Igbo, this a person I look Yoruba, this a person yeah. Some people, to me, even though Ethiopia is not a part of West Africa, because of West Africa, all that we come from, the most that we come from, most of our genes come from West Africa. But technically, we're from all over Africa. You get what I'm saying? But like, a lot of times I look at people and I'm like, this person look East African. This person literally look East African. You see them people like in Jamaica will have them very, very dark skinned, and them have like a straight face, and them have really long hair. Them people them look very East African. Them look like them couldn't be like no, I'm not Ethiopian. Ethiopian isn't the one I'm looking for. Sudanese. I think I'm Sudanese. Them look Sudanese. But yeah, if you never know, then you know now.
Yo, cut the bullshit out. Zin, most Jamaicans, slaves, came from Ghana. As a matter of fact, 90% of it. Because you know we have some mixed people and some Chinese people mixed up down there. Facts. Nigeria. Central Africa, including the Akan Ashanti them. So when me hear Jamaicans that talk about, oh, me a Jamaican, me an African, you are African, we are Africans. You see me? When you cut the fuckery out and the ignorance, you know what I mean? Like, cut out the separation from from Nigerians and from every African. Me notice even the music industry, everybody talk about Afrobeat, Garlic, dancehall, and blah. Listen, we don't need a separation. You see me? Africans are Jamaicans. Jamaicans are Africans. Facts.
I said, from once you have my skin color, you are an African. But most people in the Caribbean, if you tell a Jamaican, you are an African. No, me not African, I'm a Jamaican. No, you were taken from Africa. You've been a Barbados. No, I'm not I'm a Bajan. Listen, you are an African. We were all taken and scattered all across the earth. Time for you to come home, man. Time for you to come Africa.
So you think you're English? You think you're Anglo-Saxon? I wish some of you would go to England and say some of these things to these white people, because they'll quickly put you in your place and tell you to go back to Africa. You are the only ones who don't know where you're from, and it's really sad. Yes, you speak Patois. What do you think Patois is made up of? A lot of it is African words. And if you really want to know what tribes we came from, it's so easy. Just look at the language that we speak, which is Patois. A lot of the words are from the Ashanti tribe. I'm just surprised that a lot of Jamaicans don't know these things. You know, it's basic history, really. But it just shows you how much the education system has failed us because we don't know ourselves. Most Jamaicans struggle with English. In fact, not just Jamaicans. Most black people in the West who speak the language of their colonizers struggle with the language. That's why you end up with Creole and Patois. We have to mix up the African in there to express ourselves. English is not ours. It belongs to another group of people. Languages are born out of a culture. English didn't come from us. There are so many simple things that tell us who we are. There's so much African retention around us, including the fact that we speak Patois. It's not rocket science. And it's just shameful to see this display of ignorance on social media.
Well, if you've watched to this end, thank you once again, and let's get down to it. For most Jamaicans, we all understand how they are very loyal to their nationality, and every Jamaican comes out here and they proudly claim that I'm a Jamaican. And these could be some of the notable traits or features of most Jamaicans once you get to interact with them, as they are always proud of their country of origin. And this is one of the factors, apart from their sandy beaches, which makes the country a tourist hub for holidays. That is due to their warm climate and their sandy beaches. And other than that, we're getting to see that Jamaica is again a powerhouse for most short distance athletes, with the most notable figure being Usain Bolt, who up to date is still the fastest man alive. Well, other than that, has also been another issue that has always been brought about by most Jamaican in several social media platforms, with these Jamaicans coming out to claim that they are not African Jamaicans, or they are not Africans or share any ancestry with Africans. And again, you get to see these individuals claim that they are purely Jamaicans with no roots to Africa. And it should be noted that not all Jamaicans share these sentiments. Some of them are actually very proud of their African origin, and they have tried to repatriate themselves back to Africa to get that connection, to a point that you have also seen some African countries opening up their borders, encouraging these individuals to come back to Africa. But you're getting to see with the current generation of Jamaicans, most of them are denying their African origin, as you've seen from the videos in this clip. And in this episode today, I'm trying to decipher or see the reason as to why most of these Jamaicans are trying to deny their African ancestral roots. For beginners, we need to understand first how Jamaicans found themselves in Jamaica. Well, Jamaica comes from the word Jamaica, meaning land of food and fresh water. And for most Jamaicans, we understand that the first individuals to occupy the Jamaican island were the Taino people, which is a South American tribe that shares their ancestry with the Mexican and the Red Indians found in the nearby countries and islands. And after this, we understand that Africans were first brought to the island of Jamaica through the transatlantic slave trade by the British colony to work in the sugarcane farms as slaves. And after the end of slavery, that is in the year 1864, these Africans were left in the island. And that's how the black individuals came to be found in Jamaica. And we need to understand that even after getting the freedom to live in the country, the impact of slavery was still being felt in Jamaica, with most of the Africans being judged solely based on their skin color. And we're getting to see this discrimination going on for quite some times, as it got to a point that the white men also intermarried with the black women, bringing out the mulattoes, which were the lighter skinned Jamaicans who shared ancestry, that is, both in the white and the black community. And in doing so, a hierarchy was created, with the top at the top of the triangle being the white community, who possessed most power and control majorly all the economic activity in Jamaica, with the middle class going to the mulattoes, who, although not having full privilege like the white individuals, had better privileges compared to the black individuals who occupied the lower level of the hierarchy. And in doing so, we're getting to see that there is this dent or discrimination that has always been experienced with most of the Jamaicans, to a point that they have completely detached from their ancestral origin, as they have been made by the colonialists to hate the color of their skins. And as you've seen in this episode, most of them have actually come out to claim that they don't share any African ancestry in their lineage, to a point that there have been several online debates about Africans really, not Africans, Jamaicans really being Africans. And these debates have always ended with each individual trying to prove a point as to why they are only Jamaicans and don't share any African ancestry. And despite of this, there are also other individuals, as I had mentioned before, who actually celebrate their African origin. A good example is the Rastafarian community. And this community or religion sect was formed in the 1930s in the shanties in Jamaica, and it quickly grew to be a major world religion, mostly propagated by reggae music, which is actually accepted worldwide as being an impactful and a music genre that is laced with love. And so, for the Rastafarians, they believe that a black messiah will come from Africa who will save them from all the sufferings. And in doing so, we get to understand this is how Haile Selassie, who was crowned as king in Ethiopia, came in to the light with the Jamaican, especially the Rastafarian community, after he visited Jamaica. And this is how the Rastafarian community has always had these deep ties with Africa, to a point that Haile Selassie had given them a land where they would repatriate back to Africa and settle in Ethiopia, in which some of them have actually done so and have actively settled in Africa, showing that they still have this connection or this deep longing to connect to their ancestral roots, which is quite encouraging for them. Other than that, we have seen also some of the Jamaicans go back to Africa to try and reconnect with their ancestral roots by getting African citizenship. A good example of this is what is happening in Ghana, where we get to see that Ghana, a West African country, opened its gates to welcome all the Black Americans and Jamaicans individuals who share their enslaved ancestral blood ties to come back to Africa and settle back, as the country was willing to give them citizenship and also the ability to buy land and resettle in the country as a way of making them reconnect to their ancestral roots. And for most Jamaicans, we're getting to see that most of them got to actually jump on this wagon, and they came to Africa, changed their name to African name, and also tried and reconnected with the African community or their ancestral family ties, to a point that most of them have actually settled and blended in Africa, which is quite interesting and fulfilling some of the dreams of Jamaica's national heroes like Marcus Garvey, who actually encouraged repatriation, that is, of Jamaicans back to their motherland, that is Africa. And however, again, you're getting to see not every Jamaica shares this sentiment, as they believe that they don't owe any ties or anything to Africa, as they believe they were abandoned by Africans and hence should be left on their own. And so most of these Jamaicans choose to identify with their nationality, that is Jamaica, rather than their ethnicity and race, that is being Africans. And this is despite of the huge facts and proofs that show their ancestral origin and how they came to be in Jamaica. Well, this again marks the end of this episode. Kindly don't forget to share your thoughts and ideas with me in the comment section. Thank you once again for watching to this end, and see you in the next episode.